Hi everyone, my name is Priyanka and welcome to my vlog. Today we are going to talk about how you need to focus on yourself in the coming year, that is 2025. So 2024 is done and you have experienced some lows and some highs in this year. So this year is about to end and there is nothing you can change. And most of us, we plan a long list of things that we're going to change in this coming year. We make a long list of things that we want to improve upon in the coming year. That new year resolution of yours will have so much of stuff there, and yet you never end up achieving even one of them, right? So this time we are going to change that because we are only going to focus on one thing, and that is on ourselves. We are not going to focus on any external things like changing our diet or changing our sleep or exercising more or becoming confident, because all of these things are going to stem from one thing only, and that is changing our mindset, becoming more focused. And this is how we can achieve all of those things that we list down. Now, what is this focus that I'm talking about here? Am I going to focus on my goals or am I going to focus internally? Now, this is where you must understand that every time I'm talking about focus or improving your life, it all comes to one thing, and that is your own self. Now, so far, you've never looked at yourself deeply enough. You've never examined yourself. You only end up examining other people in your life. You examine the life that you're living, the circumstances that you're facing, the people that are there in your life. You examine their actions, but you never examine a very, very simple thing in your life, and that is your mindset. Coming on to the first point, now you have been living a life from a point of illusion. Everything about you and about your life is coming from your thought process, and your thought process is based on the illusion of you, the idea of you that you've picked up over the years from people around you. So somebody teased you and said to you that, you're like this, you will get a really bad partner, or you're like this and you will never do well in your career, you're lazy, you're ugly, or you're not mentally strong. There are a number of things that people say to us, and then we start assuming that whatever they're saying to us is our reality. We start thinking that this is us because they can see us better. The whole problem is that they cannot see themselves truly. Even if they're looking at their own mirror image, they will never see themselves because they are living from a point of unconsciousness, because a conscious person will never speak ill about themselves and about others. They will never do that. So if you are basing that image of yours, that idea of yours, that identity of yours based on what somebody is saying to you about your looks, about your intelligence, about how you are as a person, then let it go. Most unrealistic thing you've been doing so far in your life, you want to build your life around a really crappy idea of who you are. And that is why all that crappiness is coming into play in your life. Now, this is where you must bring in focus on your own self. How do we do that? How do we bring in an idea of who we are, and that true idea of who we are? I keep saying it on repeat until unless you sit in stillness, until unless you cut out the clutter in your mind, you will never know who you are. Worthy of every dream of yours, that you're worthy of that career, you're worthy of that individual that you want in your life, you're worthy of children, you're worthy of wealth, you're worthy of health. Everything is coming your way. But the problem is that you don't have the time to think of those great things because you have so much of clutter in your head. You wake up with thoughts about yourself, beliefs about yourself, and then you just keep repeating those ugly beliefs of yourself over and over again on a loop. You wake up and you go to bed with the same idea of who you are. Has it worked for you in the last 20 years, or whatever your age may be? Has it worked for you in the last 40 years? And if it has not worked for you, then this is your cue. That's time for you to change your thinking, because you are not who you believe yourself to be. And this is how you will find yourself sitting in stillness, because until unless you are at the precipice of change. You will never sit in stillness. You want to change your life around, then you must sit in stillness. I will say this, that meditation is a great tool, because unless you sit in quiet, how do you think you're going to quieten that mind of yours? Because that mind of yours has worked so hard, and has it given you the results? Does putting your mind through overwork give you any sort of benefit? It doesn't. Why is meditation so hard? It isn't. It's the most simplest of things you can do. If you want to simplify this life of yours, then that is the only way you can do it. Because you want to simplify the thought process that's going on in this mind of yours. If you're constantly thinking, then how do you think you're going to bring some simplicity and well being and ease in your life? Because every time you overthink, you end up making really rash decisions, decisions that do not benefit you in any way or form. So, coming on to the second point, you must find this time to be a time of transformation now. Everything on this planet goes through transformation. The trees go through transformation, they shed their leaves, but we as humans don't want to shed an iota of beliefs and thoughts that we carry in our life. We keep harboring the same stuff, the same energy again and again in our life. So, somebody said something to us, we'll keep repeating the same old pattern of thought in our life. We'll never stop and say to ourselves, let it be. Let this person say whatever they want to say about me, but I'm not going to react, and I'm not going to store this ugly memory or energy in my life. I'm not going to do that because it doesn't serve any purpose in my life. Do we do that? We never do that. We end up simply reacting to people, reacting to situations, and then we end up craving about this life of ours. And this is where we lose focus on ourselves, because our focus is on somebody else. Our focus is on that individual who's very, very toxic. And then we assume that by focusing on somebody other than me, I'm going to do better in my life. No, you're not going to do better in your life because you're focusing on someone else. Coming on to the third point, you need to actually train your mind to behave in a new manner, because till now you've been practicing removing those thoughts, but your behaviors are the same because your ego state of mind is still present in you, and you are operating from an ego state of mind. And although you've been becoming conscious of the thoughts that you're thinking, you are going to pay attention to your thinking process. But when it comes to behaviors, you will be shocked how badly you've been behaving with yourself and with others, because you didn't pay attention to your behaviors. They come out of woodwork. Let's say you've been finding it very, very difficult to park your car in a mall, and then somebody comes and stops you from parking. They come and park right behind you, and it makes it very, very difficult for you to park your car. Just see how you'll react. You'll get angry that instant, and you'll start shouting and fighting with them. These are very small examples, but you will find yourself behaving irrationally, because this is how your unconscious mind or your ego state of mind has been behaving so far. Because that focus is only coming in when we are writing our thoughts down on a journal. That focus is only coming in when we are just simply meeting toxic people, but rest of the day we don't focus on ourselves. That focus has to be always there, always there. It cannot be that I lose focus even while watching TV, even while driving, eating, talking to somebody. Keep one fourth of that focus on yourself, because initially it will be very, very hard to even keep one fourth of that focus on yourself, because you're not used to it. It's a new habit, and it's very difficult for people to focus completely, entirely on themselves all the time. Let me tell you, it took me a lot of years of practice to bring that focus within me, because that is something that takes a lot of patience and practice. You will end up losing that focus of yours from time to time. But don't push yourselves, don't get perturbed, don't get irritated that you lost your focus. It's something that has to come organically, naturally, and it will take some time, but it's going to come. The idea is that you are consistent with your behavior. Now, how do we find consistent behaviors? We check whenever we are behaving irrationally, and it happens to me so far. I've noticed that there are things that have improved in my life, and yet sometimes I come across some really funny situations in my life, and then I react to them. I do. It's not that I'm above reaction, but the moment I react, I understand that I've reacted. And that is how I changed myself. Now I'll note what I've done, and I will simply not judge the person or the situation or myself for reacting, but I will tell myself, now I'm going to make a mental note and I'm going to tell myself this is somewhere that I didn't work upon, because human life is unpredictable. You are going to face so many things in your life, and you cannot be prepared for everything. Even though you're conscious enough, you will understand that it takes years and years of practice, and I'm still in that phase where I feel that I need to practice a lot more, because this is what life is. Life is unpredictable. In 2025, pay attention to how you're behaving and how you're reacting, because that is going to be a big giveaway. And whenever you behave a certain way and you understand that you need to change your behavior, bring that focus back in your life and make a mental note. That's it. You just have to make a mental note. So coming on to the fourth point, conscious of your thought process. Every time you go back to feeling a certain way, no matter how hard you've worked on your thought process, no matter what version you are trying to create, if you keep going back to that old self of yours, it's because you like being in that emotional state. Every time you go back to that emotional state, to that feeling, you're putting yourself back in that old version, into that old pattern of thinking, and you can never escape it. It's a quicksand that you want to avoid it. Now I'll teach you how you can avoid it. Every time you go back to that emotional state, don't stress. First of all, you've identified at least that you're going back to those emotional states. Don't stress. Take a moment, understand and acknowledge that yes, I keep going back to these emotion states. Mind loves attaching itself to these emotion states, and the only way you can reduce that ego of yours is when you start telling yourself that you're nobody, that you're simply energy source, and you are now connected with the divine source. And because you're an energy source, you don't identify this with this individual, you don't identify with this emotional state, and that it doesn't matter what kind of emotions you're feeling. What matters is your connection with the divine. People don't understand that the environment plays a major role in how their life is shaping up. So if you're surrounding yourself with people who are always cribbing about their body, about their careers, about their relationships, about you, then time for you to step away from their energy, because they will keep on bringing you down to that unconscious energy. You will always sit and crib about the things that are not working out for you whenever you're in their company, and you have to get away from such people, because these are the people who have spent majority of their life crying. And if you want to cry in a corner, then good enough for you. Then 2025 is not for you. Then focus is not for you, because if you keep doing that, let me tell you, universe is not going to back you up. You will find yourself in a lot of troubled times, difficult times, because what you're doing is you're putting focus on things, your energy on things that are not working out for you. You're sitting with some really toxic people who have only one agenda in their life, that is, they don't want to progress, they don't want to improve upon themselves, and they want the same thing for you. So, if you want to bring in more focus in your life, see the company that you're keeping. The fifth point, focus is all about being there for yourself in those areas of your life that you've been ignoring so far. So, let's say you've been ignoring your health, and you've been ignoring your finances and your relationships, then it's time for you to bring focus onto those things. And how do we bring focus onto those things? It's not about creating a list and then going about it. No. The idea here is to first quieten that mind of yours, because unless you quieten that mind of yours, every time you try and bring focus, you will find yourself taking on too many things at the same time, and then you'll feel exhausted and you'll never excel even in one place or one area of your life. The idea here is to bring some sort of stability in the way in which you deal with your life, and that stability can only come when you take a step back, take a breather, spend 15 to 20 minutes every day sitting and just understanding what do I need to do today. In terms of my relationship, I've not been paying attention to my partner, or I've not been paying attention to my children. Now 15 minutes I can cut from my screen time, and I can sit with them and have a conversation with them that's going to make them feel good. Same way, I've not been upskilling myself. I know that I'm now not doing well in this career, and I have no other side hustles. So give 15 minutes every day trying to think, what can I do to bring in more money, and how can I use my time to bring in more money. You can do that, right? In today's day and age, there's no dearth of side hustles where you can earn a lot of money. So this is how you start making some really great decisions in this life of yours, where first sitting with yourself and having that conversation, because you've been ignoring so many areas of your life. You've been focused on other people, you've been focused on things that are not working out for you, but time has come for you to focus on every little area of your life and sit with yourself, make a mental note. And if you are unable to make a mental note, I am going to tell you to make a vision board, because it works wonders for everyone. Make a vision board, and you don't have to stick in lots of photos and manifest anything. All you have to do is write down on sticky notes, and on the vision board you can just write down things that you want to work upon and assign some time to them. So let's say if I want to upskill, if I want to learn a new language, or so what you can do is you can write down how you're going to allocate time for skill building, how you're going to allocate time for your relationships. And even in relationships, what you can do is that you can start appreciating your partner and appreciating your children, because we never pay attention to them, how much of effort they're putting in to make our life better. Start appreciating them, small little gestures here and there, and I think you will find yourself doing so much better in 2025. Start understanding how you're going to go about that side hustle of yours, because focus has to come into this life of yours. Then only you can make your life better, and that focus can only come when your mind is working for you rather than you working for that mind, right? Mind is now controlling you. You are now living a life from a mind that is like a monkey. It's jumping from one place to the other, it's jumping from one negative thought to the other. It's all over the place. And that is not how you can bring focus in your life. Your mind has to work for you. You have to be in control of that mind of yours. So you cannot control your thoughts, but yes, you can observe them and you can keep changing them, and you can bring in a new version of yourself. But that requires a lot of effort from your side. You cannot sit and idle away this time of yours by chatting with people who do not have any plan for their life. If you're sitting with people who don't have any plan for their life, step away from them and build yourself up by paying attention to people who are having your back. If people are supporting you, then appreciate them and have conversations with them. Understand how you can lead yourself in a better direction. Have a conversation with them and understand where you can make changes in your life. And health is of a priority for you in 2025, because without health you cannot work on your finances and your relationships. Health should be the first priority, and make simple changes in your health. Eat home cooked meals, sleep on time, do 15 minutes of pranayam and 15 minutes of surya namaskar. I think that's enough for you if you have been struggling to get some time to exercise. And if you have some more time, then go for walks. Simple little things to bring back focus in your life, to train that mind of yours, to bring in better habits. And 2025 is going to be so easy for you once you start focusing on your thought process, because every time you make a decision in this life of yours, understand that it's coming in from your pattern of thinking. Now if you are not going to change that pattern of thinking, then you will keep on repeating the same mistakes over and over again. And 2025 is all about the new version of you, and wishing you a wonderful 2025. May this year bring in a lot of joy, happiness, well-being, and ease for you and your loved ones. If you loved my vlog, do like, share, and subscribe, and comment down below. And thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.